Thank you and welcome to the United Lodge of Theosophists. Today the subject of the discussion is karma, and was just passed around to those of us who are here synchronously, is William Q. Judge's aphorisms on karma, because it really sums up an enormous amount of philosophical, ethical material about karma, and he sort of distilled them into principles, so it's could be helpful to refer to it throughout this discussion or at a later time. An Athenian stranger once said in Greece, ancient Greece, "My friend, if the whole path and movement of heaven and all its contents are of like nature with the motion, revolution, and calculations of wisdom, and proceed after that kind, plainly we must say it is the supremely good soul that takes forethought for the universe and guides it along that path." And that's what we hope to do as we come to understand karma better. What is karma? Madame Blavatsky says in the glossary that a number of things. Physically, it's action. Metaphysically, it's the law of retribution. Morally, it's the law of ethical causation. And we normally think of karma as perhaps that which is, not good. We receive the result, or something negative happens towards us. And that's really just a small facet of karma called nemesis. And it's nemesis only in one sense, that maybe it's uncomfortable for us. But it is said that good karma is that which is pleasing to the God within, to the Ishvara within. Karma can be seen as of merit or demerit, but some people have thought of it as sort of having designs, but really it's just a force. It doesn't have any intentions, it doesn't have any will, there's no personal entity behind it at all. It's just productive of certain effects because the effect is inherent in and follows naturally from the cause. It doesn't control anything. It's just like a cause and an effect wrapped up in one. It's almost like a mathematical equation in that once you follow through the equation, something follows from it, but it's nothing new. It was always inherent in the equation to begin with. So one could say that karma refers to the totality of interaction of all beings in the universe, because we're all from the same source. Every single act or thought is rooted in an idea, and it already contains within itself the entire series of manifestations which seem to appear as distinct effects. But that appearance is not real, it's illusory. The first impulse of the first thought and feeling constitutes the act. And it can be difficult to try to figure that out as one is thinking and acting during the day and trying to apply it to oneself. So, simply put, karma is action. It's cause and effect, that which adjusts each effect to its cause, and that which guides invisibly the effects, how it's a precise law. It works sort of mathematically, so the right person in the right place in the field of operation is affected, and that's karmic law. If one is acting on the physical plane, one could say there are effects or actions on the physical, the intellectual, the moral, and any plane of action can have karma related to that level. Mr. Judge, in the Ocean of Theosophy, says that those who have weak thought, weak will, furnish a weak focus for karma. And in them, the general result of a lifetime is limited, although they may feel it to be very heavy. But the person who has a wide and deep-reaching character and much force will feel the operation of a greater quantity of karma than the person with the weaker focus. So a character, a person who's very broad in vision, generous in sympathy, deep in motivation. This is the self-created product of thought, and they'll have a greater intensity or focus to the results that they experience, because that's what they put forth. Whether a man will have much force will depend on how one-pointed he is in his thought and his use of force. When someone is very focused to the exclusion of all else, has a purity of heart, a purity of intention, and is very focused, then the result, the effect, can be more precise. So in other words, as we experience our life and our karma, as we know that we're all one, and that any action that excludes another being is not supported by the universe, because it has to take into effect it is all one. It can't just exclude a part of itself through any individual's thought without there being a repercussion there, just like the pebble thrown into the pond. So the Mahatmas, the great masters, the teachers of humanity, have, through meditation and concentration, learned how to focus their thought very precisely. That's basically what meditation is, focusing on a seed to the exclusion of all else. And then the results of that can be very precisely generated. And that's what the Mahatmas do. Through inspiration, through, we don't completely maybe understand it, but we can sort of think about that. They have a huge sympathy for humanity, a huge desire to benefit others. So their thought and action is going to have a very wide-ranging effect. What they do is they actually make themselves a bridge to other human beings, because most of us think of perhaps ourselves, we're not aware of people on the other side of the globe, but because their consciousness has been raised to a universal level, they can take others into account, and they build a bridge. A moral sympathy is opened up, and therefore there is, in a sense, a communication going on. Karma and reincarnation have been called the ABCs of the wisdom religion. And not only is there, we'll talk more about this karma that we're experiencing now, but there's karma stored up that has yet to be expended, because the instrument or the environment is limited, and therefore not all karma can express itself all at once, nor would we want it to. It would be too much. So every day in life we see people overtaken by circumstances, either by good or by bad. Sometimes, it's all at once. Sometimes it's over long periods of time. Some are for a whole life in a miserable condition or a happy condition. And it's you can tell that it's not necessarily the person's attitude, because you can see the effect irrespective of um, whether they're some people are happy under adverse circumstances, so it's not just the attitude, although that would play into initiating a new cause that would also play itself out. So karma can come quickly, it can be strung out over the space of many years. And there's a couple of anecdote stories that help illustrate this idea. And there's one story about a German mystic, and was speaking with another mystic and discussing the passage in the Bible where it says the sins of the father will be visited on the children to the third and fourth generation. And he said, quote, "There was once an Eastern king who had one son, and this son committed a deed, the penalty of which was that he should be killed by a great stone thrown upon him. But as it was seen that this would not repair the wrong nor give the offender the chance to become a better man, the counselors of the king advised that the stone should be broken into small pieces, and that those be thrown at the son and at his children and his grandchildren as they were able to bear it. It was so done, and all were in some sense sufferers, yet none were destroyed. It was argued that in the case that the children and the grandchildren could not have been born into the family of the prince if they had not had some hand in the past in other lives in the formation of his character that led him to that point where he committed that deed. And so that they should, to some extent, share in the punishment. So that anecdote perhaps maybe can illustrate how everything we do affects those who come after us, but yet at the same time, because karma is the law of action and retribution, it brings us back to life. So we can't really separate karma from reincarnation. The two really go together. That we have lived before and interacted with those we know and love in this life. In fact, it's said that we've probably lived thousands of lives over the evolution of spirit into matter, of forming a material body, of incarnating into matter. We may have lived many lives, and each person that we meet, we may have met in a previous life. So in terms of physical life, in terms of the personality, each person is connected with a family through which the body was born, and there's a stream of heredity to which it belongs. So justice orders that the being shall suffer or enjoy, irrespective of what family he or she comes to. In some families there might be a characteristic, and that is part of the family karma that attracted the being to that family in the first place. Also, there's national karma, in the sense that certain tendencies are more likely to be exhibited or to be allowed to play out. So there's the being, there's the action and the reaction, and there's the environment in which these effects are played out. And in the aphorisms of karma, a lot of these are listed. For example, karma is not subject to time, so the effect can be stored until the environment is such that it can be exhausted, either through circumstances or through thought, through action, and other